I'm hilarious. I'm back here singing Come As You Are, and I am coming as I am. What a great morning I've had. InShalla and Ashe. Blessings to you, my energetic beings, and thanks for waiting. The shift of the stars might be feeling a little wonky today. Maybe your thoughts are on the thread lines or your feelings are on the shorelines, something like that. You might even get a pause of insight that's kind of futuristic, something that you might have never thought before. So just be in the threads of those waves. It's kind of like the threads of fate floating around, watching from the shorelines or from that sailboat. Hi, Stephanie. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for waiting. If you have yet to join me for my musing moon meditation, simply subscribe. It's my lunar gift in the village as part of my little thank you for being part of my tribe. And I just want to say that I'm actually super excited for the Pluto's natal return. If you're feeling anything else but excitement like myself, let me know. But finally, welcome to today's daily snippet. And once again, I am your host. I'm a practicing holistic Sha'medium and subtle energetic surgeon. I merge the indigenous technologies with the subtle energies, the elementals, the elemental beings, and so much more out into the galactic highway in a way. But my intention really is to merge the indigenous with those subtle realms to assist you in navigating your prime directive, kind of opening the door or reintroducing yourself to the being that resides within you. Sometimes we get it cascaded away. My name is Tonya D, and welcome to my virtual medicine room. If you're interested in a card for your day, simply like, comment, and share the show, because really assisting me also assists you as well. So it's kind of a give and take, right? The dualities and the polarities. And let's see if I can do this. Oh my gosh, I got pretty good today. But the cards of the day went with my fairy realm. They felt a little left out. So yeah, if you're tuning in, Tanya, I have a juicy card for you too. But just so you know, I see you in my thread lines, my original eye, that's what I call it, if you will. And then I pick a card on your behalf. So I kind of tune into your frequency. And then I really shuffled the decks after I've grabbed the first 3 cards that I pulled. But I literally was missing the fairies today, and I felt, or I heard the call that they wanted to be part of the show. So first up, this is called the Topsy Turvettes. And the interesting thing about them is it doesn't matter if it's otherworldly or not. It's actually the same image on both sides. But this card is part of the wee folk in the realm of the other world. Sometimes they assist us in our daily lives, and sometimes they add a lot more confusion. Possibly that's what happened to me. Not quite sure. Yeah, that is what happened. However, in an effort to be helpful, they're actually part of what's called the helping fairies. They're like the help line. They're associated with the elemental realms, the beings of the world and not. And when I say elementals, it could be a star, it could be a galaxy, it could be the moon, it could be Mars. It could also be the element of wood, oopsie, there we go, wood, cactus, poor guy, should probably water that, fire, etc. But sometimes they work in alone, or sometimes they work in groups, but they're super galactic fun, they're sassy, and oftentimes they're mischievous. But these topsy-turvettes, they show up when we need change, a change of a viewpoint, fresh looks, a new way of seeing things. And it's often when our life is confusing, that's when actually they come to visit us. And nothing draws them in than the mental muddle of our mind. They don't really cause the muddle. We're usually pretty good at doing that for ourselves or for each other. But that's the energy they're attracted to. So confusion is just an important stage of growth. And they really get the joy and the delight in just assisting things to grow. And they live everywhere. But not only, us being human need their help, but other beings as well. But they're really busy. Sometimes they come across as maybe being bossy. However, they're actually quite prolific or prophetic, and there are actually quite a lot of them. And when they show up, it's kind of this indication that someone needs to actually look again to make an effort to see things from a different point of view. So it's kind of a suggestion. So this confusion might exist because we're asking the wrong questions or even maybe perhaps we might have made assumptions that are actually incorrect. And, sometimes we do hit a brick wall built on those misconceptions or hit the ceiling or whatever that is. But these turvettes are really asking us to kind of back up, to question our assumptions and try to see things from a different viewpoint, from the viewpoint of other people, maybe the people that are even involved in our muddle in our mind. And they're asking us to let go of our attachments to our own viewpoint and just to remove words like ought or should. We could literally should ourselves to death. So it's just kind of a word where just the coulda, woulda, shouldas kind of, but yeah, especially about other people. But empathetically, they're kind of suggesting that we start trying to see things as they truly are instead of as somebody else thinks they should be. So this card, in essence, it's kind of a warning that somebody involved in a question or an issue at hand is kind of mentally upside down or possibly sideways. And so being that this card is otherworldly, turned up another way or turned under, however you want to look at it, another point of view, it doesn't really suggest that in itself. This card is always reversed. So even when it's turned sideways, it's kind of laying out that the turvettes are they're calmly, but they say, question everything. And that's kind of the message. Don't believe the deck of cards at hand, the physical world, whatever, that's playing in our field. Question everything, like be curious. That's kind of how I like to stay. And then this little guy, this is Faf the Footer. He's part of the helpline troop. Being real, earthing, grounding, and centering. So just as life is becoming kind of surprising, exciting, very interesting, I think, though not necessarily fun, right? So Faf, the funny thing about Faf is he's like this Faf the Footer Fungus Fairy. He comes along to check our feet, and he literally picks up 1 foot at a time and looks between our toes. He's seeing if we're taking care of our feet. Are they dirty? Are your toes trimmed? Do you get a pedicure? Anything that he finds that isn't healthy with our feet, believe it or not, he sees that as disrespect for the earth mama, like walking on the earth with our grubby feet or stinky feet, and he marks our feet or allows us to know our feet are funky by putting holes in our socks. So if things are really bad, he sends mice and things to kind of take our shoes away. Or he also likes us to dance under the meadows under the moon. And also, though, if you happen to be like me, I have snow instead of dew. So this honestly, it's kind of our tough luck. But it's a warning that we need to clean our feet, basically. And if our feet aren't clean, both energetically, that's the cool part, or physically, then I just would say the stinky socks, whatever, that's going to take root. So he kind of leaves our feet up in the air and he inspects both of our feet. And I know this is hilarious, but this is all about grounding and centering. So, not leaving us with both of our feet in the air, because usually, we're confused by even what he means, he resembles, by the look on our faces. So it really isn't a good position to be in. It's kind of a test. It is a test, right? So it's kind of like a warning, and he's testing us, our feet to actually get back on the ground, back on the earth, and not to try to do anything important or make any decisions that are significant until you literally have come back to earth and grounded yourself. So anything that we attempt to do while standing with our feet up in the air, right, otherworldly, it's probably not going to work. But if you're lucky, or even if you're unlucky, it kind of does work, but not in the way that we would see it. This is kind of like innovative. It's seeing things otherworldly. So it's just, to get the idea, you kind of want to get a quick way to earth yourself. Similar to a fairy, what you can do is just stroke your feet with both hands, each one for like 5 minutes. You can check out your socks at the same time if you wear them. I happen to do that myself, as I think that. But also what's great about them is they love it when we paint our toenails, especially a bright red color, to keep our feet cheery and active, just thinking about it, right? It's like, oh yeah, I could do a pedicure. But that just, it's a reminder for us to ground and to keep them on the ground. Um, so that's kind of the aspect of this card. Even if you're masculine, I used to have some clients that would paint their toenails as well. So this card's about grounding and climbing kind of back into our beingness. So that's super exciting, I think. Whoops, where did I go? Hang on. Every time I think I get better at this, I get disgruntled, I guess. But this card is also, Faf is telling us to ground, to center, and also to breathe and to just stay earth and grounded. So I would kind of do that now myself. I should do that just to receive energy from the earth mother herself and kind of bring it in. And just knowing that our head is connected to our body. So yeah, just to finish that up, I would probably, I always like to take a breath, hold for a count of 3, and do a pause. That's just how I flow in. Now this one here, this magical beauty, this is the moon's daughter. Her name's Lesti, kind of like Bastille, but Lesti. She's part of the fairy guides and the guardians. These beings actually devote their time and their energy to kind of be our guards and our guardians. They assist us in creating our special gifts, our own natural magic, exploring our own potentials, and just enjoying and being in discovery and the joy of like living and being human and being in harmony, the essence of harmony. So this here is kind of a card or a sign that to cast our light out into the shadows and connect with our spiritual guidance and the illumination of the lunarity of this moon coming in, and also even riddles, cosmic riddles. But she's the bringer of light in the darkness within the moonlight. She reveals and she conceals. She kind of does two sides of the coin. But she leaves these bright fairy hoof prints. They light a path of the way and they guide us through the darkness. So she's also one of the guides of the passages between the other worlds and this one. So she's the essence who, with her brighter light, she tends to the gate of revelation, showing us the way through that illumination. And her sister, which I've talked about before, her name's Tonya. She's like the wild daughter, and she helps guide us through the gate of despair. But this little Estate, she's actually a lot more fun, obviously. But the process of guiding us as she pulls the veil through the clouds. So that's kind of how we see her. She's like the veil of clouds across the face of the mother, which is the moon. And then later, if we're not paying attention, we're going to kind of trip over ourselves. And when we do that, that's when she thinks we're aware, we're awake. So she's smiling at us. So she doesn't enjoy people who are actually sleepwalking through life, which a lot of us do a lot of the time, and we can never buy back time. And energetically, the nighttime really contains a lot of magic, a lot of beauty, and a lot of wisdom. So sometimes we walk through it unseeingly. So you could find her with activities that are helpful, or sometimes they're kind of frustrating. But how we all take that in is entirely up to each and every one of us. But this being, this essence, this fairy, she wants us to wake up, basically. So she doesn't trip us up. She just kind of puts obstacles on our path just to make sure that we're awake. And if we don't do that, become awake, it's always our choice. But she really wants us to be open to the great unknown, to the mystical, not necessarily the magical, just these experiences that teach us an expanded way of relating to the galactic multiverse, the universe, and all of the worlds and the dimensions. She is the daughter of the moon, and she really is this illuminated being, this child of unity. Where Las Guana I've talked about, she's the frog queen. I think I talked about her probably a week or so ago. But they all wish us to get in touch with our subconscious and really find the treasure within ourselves. And she just hopes that we reach our higher self, our Sira, the aspect of ourself that's sometimes most people don't realize their cosmic wisdom that they carry within them, and that we know far more than we know that we know. And there are actually places within ourselves that we might have feared because they're shadowed and they feel unknown. So sometimes we imagine that they're full of monsters when in fact they're inhabiting they're these joyful otherworldly spirits. So the card, in essence, is really just wishing us to explore the earth where we're at, because that is where a lot of our potential and even our unexplored wisdom actually lies. And just reaching into the deepest part of our minds and opening those doors that we've shut for so long and illuminating and revealing and cultivating. It reminds me of kneading the ground, kind of like we do in the spring when we're going to plant a plant, to ground ourselves, to ground that aspect of our being. These are like our hidden senses, they're our hidden talents, they're our gifts. But what's cool about her and what I love is she speaks to us in a language of symbols. And fairies most often do speak, otherworldly beings, I should say, they do speak in otherworldly symbols because words are so limiting. So any one symbol can speak to us on a variety of levels of consciousness about a variety of different aspects of our essence and our being, if we are to spend time contemplating the memo, right? But she's kind of a sphinx, and she finds answers to our profound aspects and riddles to give us keys to unlock the door to really the multiverse. So if you're attending to your dreams and your visions and studying every day, just trying to discover different deeper levels of meanings within symbolisms, that's the language of Lestate, and you are learning through her. So it's the language of artistry, poets. I'm thinking of like a bard for some reason, somebody who like creates songs. But there's a lot of symbolism that's rich, and it has a lot of information just by discovering through these aspects and looking through otherworldly eyes and through interactions with these fairies. They don't just, they not only teach us the language of their fairy aspects, but also through art and just otherworldly poetry. But they also, what happens is they give us the key to access our psychic abilities to the deeper levels of our own psyche, our own psychicness. Where the singers and the creative force of unity, they're a lot more easily found. It's kind of like this revelation and this ecstatic experience of the mystic that like where we face and we lead ourselves into our future. So her aspect is to lead out the old stuff of the past, let that fade away, and illuminate our own insight and even our newly accessed wisdom. So you might be finding apparently some random events or ideas are falling into like a pattern. And some of those things might be beginning to make sense to you. Things might be flowing more easily than maybe you're accustomed to. And your decisions or your choices might be bringing an unusually high degree of success. So this is all about psychic abilities like hunches and intuition, foreknowing. You know, our solar plexus is online today as well. It's becoming clearer and making just more sense. So really trust the process. But she also brings our psychic dreams and the foretelling of that future and illuminating the present and the now. In the dreams, they often speak through symbols. And again, that's how she comes and connects with us. So that was kind of a lot about her, but I was, obviously they were speaking to me this morning, but all day long. And then I have for you, Tonya, this is great. This is the singer of healing. And what I love about the singers are, they're kind of like angelic beings, and these beings, they transcend every religion, philosophy, and creed. Angels, right? So angels themselves, they really don't have a religion that we know of, or at least I don't know of, but their existence kind of, it predates every system of religion that's actually ever existed on planet Earth. So these singers, they really are the great ones. Their energies and their wings span the multiverse. They float into all dimensions, interconnecting, but they have a variety of different names. So, you know, you could call them goddesses or gods, divas, angels, and whatever floats in to you and for you, but it really doesn't matter. They just want us to call them in, and they really hope that we do call upon them. So I love the singers. I'll get to that in a minute, but they're the singers of this underlying song of the galactic universe. The thread lines, the different sounds that we don't realize, they go to a different beat. But to the fairies, you know, these are the great ones, and they show us both, whether we're in this dimension or not, where and what we have the potential to ultimately become They also assist us to move into that direction and also comfort us when we fall off our path. So we might possibly get kind of philosophical or complex, but yeah, I just want to keep it simple. And the singers, they are always constantly with us. Their energy is always there, and their compassion, which I think is highly needed, is also available. So when we need it, all we have to do really is ask them to help us, and then just be aware of the events and insights that follow that request. But this card, the Singer of Healing, this is the healing of the body, the mind, and the spirit. And I like to throw in the soul. But it's the song of the singer. They have this powerful or power of healing deep wounds of our spirit, and the wounds that can actually destroy mortals or immortals alike. It's like faith betrayed or love dishonored, trust abandoned, abandonment of trust, and other injuries of our spirit that really inflict serious wounds, which get reflected energetically, morphology, in the body through illness or injury. So the song, through the song of healing, that's where this energy can be restored and also renewed, but only if the wounded one is prepared to forgive and also let go. It's like returning to love and also to compassion. And as always, really, with all gifts of spirit, healing truly is offered. It's not forced, and it requires really just an active participation on our part. And true healing has to take effect, really, or take place on all levels at once, whether it's the body, the mind, and the spirit, all equally, and the soul. So there's just, these levels are really they're linked all in one piece, very magically put together. But we can't expect to change one without changing and shifting another. It's like eating healthy one day and then not doing it the rest of the year. So our bodies don't do all of this all at the same time on their own. So there's these different links between different aspects of being. They're a variety, they're complex, and sometimes they're even obscure. But the principle of healing is it's actually pretty simple in itself, but we need only to let go of things that are hurting us and to really nurture ourselves, love ourselves from the deeper side with the things that truly benefit us. And we're all different. I would just say keep it simple, but yet sometimes it doesn't need to be difficult at all, right? So the song of healing is actually present everywhere, unlike the other aspects of the great song of, I would say, ecstasy, not so much, but that's kind of without limit. So healing oftentimes can seem so complex as we dig our way through all the blocks and the resistances and the old stuff. But in the end, it's simply really letting go and opening up. You know, we're all great at giving, but we're not so great at receiving. So really kind of learn everything you can from others about healing. There's a lot of great information out there, but just keep the essentials to the simple process in your mind. Keep it basic, simple. But this card being reversed, it's like when illness of the body, the mind, or the spirit kind of prevails, we really feel disconnected from the great song of healing. So the question really we need to ask ourselves is, what feelings or ideas or beliefs are you holding on to that keep your wounds open and unhealed? And I think honestly we could all ask ourselves that. And what can you do to nurture yourself and open to the song of healing? So that's kind of where I'm going with this. Thanks for that. Oh my gosh, you guys are online. I should go live later in the day more often. This is more fun. Okay, now for the energy, the elements of the day. We have a yang fire tiger kind of a day. So fire, the earth is performance for a fire day. So you probably got a lot done today. There's fire's charisma, it's action, it's our ancestors, it's visions, it's all of spirit, really. And the tiger, which is excited as we're heading into this water tiger year, it's an opposing tiger to today's energy. What does that mean? So water and fire don't get along, right? But we have some flow today, and the day is actually supported by the wood. So fire is happy. Fire creates earth, which then houses the metal. And we also have water hidden in the branches. So we should feel actually pretty yummy today. Since we do have a fiery tiger, and tiger sometimes has this energy of being aloof, you know, tigers pounce, but it also has this a desire to wear a mask like a facade when they're out facing the world to actually protect themselves. So that actually kind of, that aspect might be the frequency of the water tiger year. Actually, now that I say that out loud, that's kind of funny. But the energy of the tiger is an energy that wants to be recognized and appreciated for who they truly are. And sometimes they feel a heaviness in their chest, and they need to be more uplifted so they can feel the air filling up their lungs to the fullest capacity of what that feels like. Drinking in like the juice of life, the spring of life, just to feel alive again. But they need truly to see an endearing aspect and being, out of the suffering. They need to recapture things that drain them. And they also need to know that it's okay to be proud of who you are and also all of your accomplishments. It's like putting your certificate on the wall. But this is a fire tiger. So this is a tiger that is seen. You might have had seriously some juice today coming through the day. Myself, as I am running, I call it snail time. I'm running slow. There's some exciting things happening. Myself, I've had a lot of divinations. It's super juicy. That's happening for me. And people are just ready to really utilize their intuitive gifts or maybe understand them some more. Plus, I have voices of the other world. So my village, my tribe is really moving forward for sure. Just being clear about something and also, understanding it. And today our mind is it's our operator for today. It's kind of in flutter mode. So we got a lot going on. I'm not sure how to focus or to get in the flow. That might be what happened for you today. But our thoughts are possibly going to be a beacon of triggers, either for ourselves or for others. And when our mind is overwhelmed with all of this, it's flowing too fast. The best thing to do is really to file away our thoughts and tune into the ones that are the most important for today. That's kind of the energy of today. And we might be channeling into too much information, telepathy, right? Channeling. So we need to kind of categorize and prioritize things. So yeah, that's kind of, what do you feel, or what is the feeling that kind of escalates with the thought that's kind of rising and peeking through, and also, do you believe the transmitter? Like, who's sending the info, the insight? Because our inner knower is online, our beacon of knowing. So these things that we just know, and it's like, it's the things we know and the insight without any kind of scientific proof. We just get that gut feeling. That's where this comes in. So our heart, it's mental clarity. So our heart should be online to kind of encapsulate the vision and also to believe in that vision. And through the believing, then we have this inner knowing and a direction or the path that we need to go on, or the door to open or access, just filling it into the thread lines. What do you know about the future to be true? Do you feel it? Does your heart believe it? It should be juicy. That's all I got to say. And open up your mind to those unlimited outcomes on that galactic platter. That's really where the juice is. And insights always seem to come in magical, mystical, otherworldly ways. So kind of I would actually say something at night before you climbed into bed of like a dream to come in and house into your beingness. I do that. And geranium, the herb of the day. So geranium was kind of funny. I actually was going to go with rosemary, but I couldn't find a good picture, and I was already late, so I was like, But this is just a great harmonizer. It's harmony. It's got this herbaceous kind of rose scent, which is curious. It actually assists us to return to a place of anxiety, or if you're in anxiety, to a place of calm. But at the same time, it kind of retains our alertness. So for a day like today, I felt like it was a great one because my day's been kind of hectic, and it kind of restores our emotional foundation. Even in the afternoon, it's calming. It could reduce fatigue. It does a lot of, it's actually a great, I guess, an infusion for the skin. Regulates oil production. So the whole reason I got into the four elements, the 5 elements, I should say, and whatnot, is because I work with an energetic skincare line all about balancing the skin. The skin, it covers the whole body, right? So it's this whole thing. It's a whole process for me, but it's super exciting. And I can look at people and know their elemental contribution. It's totally funny. But as most essential oils, they all have this antimicrobial or astringent kind of thing going on. So I would say with our solar plexus online, the seed sound of Ram will totally help you ground in and kind of climb into your skin today. The sound of wood or fire, the shishing. As far as fire, I would probably light a red candle. I would connect with an ancestor. Fire is spirit energy, all of the spirit realm, so it's pretty simple. If you have an altar, go to your altar, have that otherworldly conversation with an ancestor, for sure. An affirmation to get you on your way. You know, I should apologize. I have really had an otherworldly day, but hey, you know, we're all human, right? We all have this aspect. But yellows, for me, it's like yellows, like a sunflower. Like I was thinking, oh, I wish I could have bought one because sunflowers are so juicy, right? They just brighten our day. Just thinking about it, seeing it in your third eye, and the moon. You know, if you want to add more crazy to the day, the moon herself is in Gemini, so this is really a double whammy of our mind's energy today. So this is really how that telepathic info or insight is going to be coming in, because our mind is truly online, but it might be an emotional, thought-provoking mind kind of a day, and still holding the future lines, kind of like fishing when you throw the line out fishing. So what I would affirm is that, and I've been doing this for days, quite honestly, not exactly this one, but I would affirm that I am believing in the best, highest future that resonates with my highest timeline. I would say that before you go to bed and just feel into those threads, because feeling and believing and minding the mind, and getting a higher mountaintop view, a perspective, that was kind of what the cards were saying today, but still grounding in your beingness into your body as well. So anyway, InShalla and Ashe, thanks for tuning in. I'm only a few hours late today, but blessings to you. I'm sending it out there. And as always, I'll see you on the other side. Not so late tomorrow.